Self-contradictions of the Bible. Number 25. Does God desire animal sacrifices? Yes, God desires animal sacrifices. God's love for animal sacrifice is shown early in the Bible. Cain offers God his fruit, while Abel kills his firstborn sheep and offers their dead bodies and fat to God. God had respect for Abel's sacrifice, but not for Cain's. Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Genesis 4:2-4. The first thing that Noah did after the flood was build an altar and sacrifice clean beasts and fowls to God. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor. And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor. In Genesis 8:20-21. God promised Abraham that he would inherit all of the land from Egypt to the Euphrates River. When Abraham asked God for a sign, God told him to kill a 3-year-old heifer and a 3-year-old ram, along with a turtle dove and a young pigeon. Abraham did as he was told. In the evening, God lit the whole body mess on fire. And he, God, said unto, Abraham, take me an heifer for 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And it came to pass that when the sun went down, and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace, and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. Genesis 15:9-17. God commanded the Israelites to build an altar for animal sacrifices. He then gave the Israelites dozens of commandments, telling them in great detail what animals he wanted them to kill for him, and how he wanted them killed and burned for a sweet savor unto the Lord. The rituals involved things like wiping blood on the thumbs and big toes of the priest, sprinkling blood on the people, burning fat, and pouring blood on the altar. Below are just a few of God's instructions. For more, see the first 9 chapters of Leviticus. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. Exodus 20:24. Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the bullock for the sin offering, and he slew it. And Moses took the blood and put it upon the horns of the altar round about with his finger, and purified the altar, and poured the blood at the bottom of the altar, and sanctified it, to make reconciliation upon it. And he took all the fat that was upon the inwards, and the caul above the liver, and the 2 kidneys and their fat. Moses burned it upon the altar. But the bullock and his hide, his flesh, and his dung he burnt with fire without the camp, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he brought the ram for the burnt offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the ram, and he killed it. And Moses sprinkled the blood upon the altar round about, and he cut the ram into pieces, and Moses burnt the head and the pieces and the fat, and he washed the inwards and the legs in water, and Moses burnt the whole ram upon the altar. It was a burnt sacrifice for a sweet savor, and an offering made by fire unto the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he brought the other ram, the ram of consecration. Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the ram, and he slew it. And Moses took of the blood of it, and put it upon the tip of Aaron's right ear, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. And he brought Aaron's sons, and Moses put of the blood upon the tip of their right ear, and upon the thumbs of their right hands, and upon the great toes of their right feet. Moses sprinkled the blood upon the altar round about, and he took the fat and the rump, and all the fat that was upon the inwards, and the caul above the liver, and the 2 kidneys and their fat, and the right shoulder. Leviticus 8:14-25. Thou shalt sprinkle their blood upon the altar, and shalt burn their fat for an offering made by fire, for a sweet savor unto the Lord. Numbers 18:17-19. And thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, the flesh and the blood, upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and the blood of thy sacrifices shall be poured out upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt eat the flesh. Deuteronomy 12:27. In contradiction to, no, God does not desire animal sacrifices. The book of Psalms is the first book of the Bible to claim that God does not desire animal sacrifices. Sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire. Psalm 46. Will thou eat of the flesh of bulls, or drink the blood of goats? Psalm 50:13. For thou desirest not sacrifice, thou delightest not burnt offerings. Psalm 51:16. Some prophets make the same claim. I delight not in the blood of bullocks, or of lambs, or of he-goats. Isaiah 1:11. He that killeth an ox is as if he slew a man. Isaiah 66:3. Your burnt offerings are not acceptable, nor your sacrifices sweet unto me. Jeremiah 6:20. Put your burnt offerings unto your sacrifices, and eat flesh, for I spake not unto your fathers, nor commanded them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt, concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices. Jeremiah 7:21-22. The 26th self-contradiction of the Bible. What became of Cain? He was a fugitive and a vagabond, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. Genesis 4:11-12. In contradiction to, he settled down, married, had a son, and built a city. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city, and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. Genesis 4:16-17. Self-contradiction 27 of the Bible. Is polygamy okay? Yes, the Bible approves of polygamy. There are many polygamists in the Bible. Some of them were God's favorite people, including Abraham, Jacob, Gideon, Solomon, and David. God didn't seem to mind. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. Genesis 4:19. Now Sarah, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abraham, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened unto the voice of Sarai, and Sarai, gave to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. Genesis 16:1-4. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Genesis 25:6. Esau, took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. Genesis 26:34. Esau, took, Mathalath, the daughter of Ishmael, to be his wife. Genesis 28:9. Then Jacob rose up and set, his wives upon camels. Genesis 31:17. He, Jacob, and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants. Genesis 32:22. And Gideon had 70 sons of his body begotten, for he had many wives. Judges 8:30. Elkanah, had 2 wives. The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah. 1 Samuel 1:1-2. Solomon, had 700 wives, and 300 concubines. 1 Kings 11:2-3. And Asher, the father of Tekoa, had 2 wives, Helah and Nerah. 1 Chronicles 4:5. Rehoboam, took 18 wives and 60 concubines. 2 Chronicles 11:21. But Abijah waxed mighty and married 14 wives. 2 Chronicles 13:21. Jehoiada took for him 2 wives. 2 Chronicles 24:3. God even gave David Saul's wives. He wouldn't do that if he didn't approve of polygamy. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, ellipsis mark, I gave thee, brackets David, and brackets, ellipsis mark, thy masters, brackets Saul's, and brackets wives, ellipsis mark, 2 Samuel 12:7-8. He set up rules for men who wanted to take another wife. If he take him another wife, ellipsis mark, Exodus 21:10. And he provided instructions for men that had two wives, one beloved and the other hated. If a man have two wives, one beloved and the other hated, ellipsis mark, Deuteronomy 21:15. Even Jesus seemed okay with polygamy. The parable of the 10 virgins, for example, involved a man and his 10 brides. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. Matthew 25:1. God himself tells a story about his two wives. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, there were two women, the daughters of one mother, ellipsis mark. The names of them were Aholah the elder and Aholibah her sister, and they were mine. Ezekiel 23:1-4. In contradiction to, no, the Bible disapproves of polygamy. God created only one woman to be Adam's helpmeet. This seems to imply that God intended marriage to involve one man and one woman. The Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Genesis 2:21-24. Jesus seems to agree with this passage, saying that a man and a woman become one flesh in marriage, as it was in the beginning. Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh, wherefore they are no more twain but one flesh. Matthew 19:4-5. And although it's okay for a king to have more than one wife, he shouldn't have too many. Parentheses, although how many is too many is not specified. Parentheses. Neither shall he, brackets the king, and brackets multiply wives to himself. Deuteronomy 17:17. Paul seemed to think that a marriage should only be between one man and one woman. Let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. 1 Corinthians 7:2. As did the author of Ephesians. Let every one of you in particular so love his wife even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. Ephesians 5:33. Polygamy is okay unless you're a bishop. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife. Ellipsis mark, 1 Timothy 3:2. If any be blameless, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruly, for a bishop must be blameless. Titus 1:6-7.